Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2? You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Hello and welcome. Happy Wednesday. My name is Gail Robertson. I am Chief Curiosity Officer with GailNow. And I help manufacturers both tell and share their story. And stories are what we're going to be getting into today. As you know, every week I bring on different guests and we help look at the how, the why, provide tips. And all of this goes to my 3-step process, which is sign up, suit up, and show up, because that's where the magic happens. When you decide to tell your story and then share it, well, you can just accomplish so much. And often people are reluctant sometimes to do that, to show up. So part of what I do when I'm working with clients is work on first the sign up. It's all about mindset. Then the suit up is getting ready and using curiosity. And anyone that knows me knows that curiosity is my superpower, and I help others to delve into that as well. And part of that curiosity is doing research and meeting people virtually. So when I bring guests on, a lot of these people that I'm meeting internationally are from virtual networking. And I think it's so important because that's part of the showing up. And when you show up, well, you meet great people, you tell great stories, and that's how you can grow your business. And you also develop many great personal friendships as well. Now, this guest today, wow, she is a big wow. I remember seeing her videos, and she has made her mark when it comes to branding and standing out in a crowd. So I would like to welcome on stage, Bonnie. Hello, Bonnie.
Hi.
I'm going to because you have a triple name, I was going to try, and I thought, I don't want to get it wrong or get them mixed up. So it's Bonnie
Sussman
Strominger.
Strominger.
Bonnie Sussman Strominger.
It couldn't
Okay.
be longer, right? It could not be longer.
Yeah. And but you know what? I'm always careful with people's name. I value people's names, the importance of them, and making sure they're correct. Because as a reporter back in my journalism days, if we ever got anybody's name wrong, spelling wrong, it was an automatic F on our paper. So it always stuck with me to make sure I always asked first and make sure I get and now
I thought I'd get lucky when I got married, get that quick, short, 1-syllable name. Didn't happen.
No, but yeah, I think you got a great husband though, from what I hear. So
He's watching. Sorry, hon. We could always shorten it.
Well, before we get started, I want to go to our comments because they've been flowing in. So I want to start with it. We're going to go to our studio audience first, and then I'm going to come back and have you tell a little bit of your story, a little bit about what you do, and then we'll get into the origin story too.
My
so
pleasure.
Stay tuned, everybody, because we have some great stories ahead. So, so we have first in today was Brian. Brian Forster was first out of the gate. He's an amazing person, does great work with video as well. Hello, Brian, and welcome. Inger's here. Inger's doing double duty, working backstage and out in the studio audience today. Thank you, Inger, for all you do. Inger is a networking ninja, and also has some great programs coming up. So please follow her. Katie's here. Katie puts the fun in manufacturing. She does amazing things to encourage more people to enjoy the world of manufacturing as well. We have someone new in here today. Now, Bruce, who I just connected with. Do you know Bruce? Are you?
I do know Bruce.
Okay.
We recently connected, and he invited me on his live in September, and we've been going back and forth. He's a terrific guy.
Oh, perfect. Well, welcome, Bruce. We've also connected, and he's in the plastics world, which I'm excited to talk about that too.
Yes.
Bonnie says, you got this suit. You got this super leader. You got this super leader. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, one of my regular shows, he says, Mike Hicks says, which way to the pool? Mike Hicks is also on the Canadian Association of Mold Makers board. We're both on that board. I'm also a director on that board. So yay, mold makers, because we need people to make the tools to make the molds, right? What else do we have? Next up is, Shannon is here. Welcome, Shannon. Also met Shannon through some networking here. So welcome. I don't know if you know Shannon. If you don't, great way to connect here. One of the things I always say about the live shows and the networking, the comments is lots of opportunity to meet new people. And then we have Mike has a comment that says, are you going to the prom after? You know, for people that know me, know this is a very unusual look for my hair to be up, but I actually was out.
I like your hair pulled back.
You know what? It isn't. I was just saying I actually am getting my hair like trimmed and that it's went a little crazier today. And I actually, I was out swimming in the lake earlier, so I kind of lake hair and I just decided to pull it back. But you've
got the big curly hair. I have big curly hair. You wouldn't notice it because it's, straightening and whatnot, but I have hair just like yours.
Well, and though if I get a date to the prom and if it's of age appropriate, I will say yes. So we'll hear, because we're going to hear a date story. That's a throwing ahead, a curiosity gap.
Story that started it all.
Where it started all, dating. Yeah, dating stories. That's time for another show. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Ben Baker is in there now. Ben. Oh, Ben. I just spoke to him on the phone earlier, showing up to say hello. Thank you. Ben is one of those like truly gems you meet in life, right? Like he does some great things with podcasting, with lifting up others. We've both been
I've become good friends with Ben, and we speak, and our conversations are nothing short of insightful. He always has something knowledgeable to share, and you walk away feeling like you got something.
I want to do a shout out too for everyone. Please follow Ben and check out his podcast. He has some really good his interviews. I love listening to his interviews. I was listening to parts of the interview he did with you. He really, like you said, insightful. He's kind. And he just, as I said, lifts other people up. So you want to have people like Ben in your circle because
absolutely.
He's a cool guy. And he just call and chat periodically. I just love that. So he's very thoughtful. And Bruce says, she is in the stream. So good to see you here. She's in the stream. So okay. And then we have Inger just doing some thanks to some people. And Shannon saying, hey. So we have, we'll skip over. We have a lot of the networking in the, Brian is here. Brian is from Cavalier Tool, just back from India, because they have 3 offices in India now. And stay tuned. There's going to be a Cavalier blog about that. So I think Brian is still just, I'm seeing another comment. Katie says, yeah, curly hair gang. Yeah, we're the curly hair gang until we're not.
Or until the humidity gets us and we look scary.
Or lake swimming. So it was funny because earlier I was going, and of course everything's reversed. So my one piece of hair was sticking up. And anyway, so I decided I
can relate.
I'll go with the prom look. I like that, my prom look. So, and Brian said, didn't recognize Gail, thought I was in the wrong room.
And
if I go like
the hair and the backdrop.
Yes, the new backdrop too.
Right.
Yes, and it's a real backdrop. It's not fake. So, and then feel the curly hair struggle, Gail. Whitney says, yeah. So normally I embrace it, but sometimes it just, as I said, when I'm out of my normal routine. And then Bruce said, aha, Katie Mullen, this is the no hair side of the house. And Ben thank you, Ben, for dropping in. He says, you are awesome. Love you. And there's his link to his podcast. So highly, highly recommend it. It's on my listening list, along with my Hidden Brain one, which I love. Shannon says, yep, she's again, more networking up. So, wow. So Bonnie, this is, a lot of your fans are out here today, new fans and people that tune into the show each week. So let's start with, you are heading up a company called GoLidZ, and we're going to talk about a few things today, e-commerce. And just for everybody listening, what we're going to be talking about is tips about how to show up with products, but also because we have some people in manufacturing that are more making the things that make things. We'll talk about the value of how this still applies to whether you have a product or you have a service as well. So let's start with a little bit about what GoLidZ is, and then we'll get into your origin story.
Okay. So GoLidZ, we call it simply complicated, but let's start with the simple part. They are lids that replace standard beverage cup lids all across food service. So instead of a regular lid, this goes on and it opens. You can eat. Got some Lara bars in there, my vegan journey, which we'll talk about a little later. And you can close it and you can take a drink at your leisure, and they're crazy sturdy. They don't come apart. And we manufacture, as you know in that world, not an easy product to manufacture, crazy complicated. In fact, that's why we say simply complicated, because something that was so simple in concept, and I think this is a lesson just in business for everyone, is lots of things do seem simplistic on the surface. And then you dive deeper and you start to really get into the nooks and crannies of everything that has to happen to pull that product out, and you find out it's not at all simple. And this is just to show you, for those in manufacturing out there in that world, it's a one piece. So this whole thing has to come out of a machine at a crazy fast rate, right, without damages, holes, punctures. It's got living hinges, 2 living hinges. It's got a lock in the front. So a lot of things have to form on this product. And it took us a long, long time to get it right. And anyone who knows me knows, and I'm very transparent, we failed and we failed. And we fell over and smacked our head on the pavement and even looked like we were bleeding out at moments. But, just kept fighting through. We knew there was a way to the other side. And we knew that the problems weren't insurmountable. They were just, they were exhausting. They were gut-wrenching at times because we didn't have a solution. But we just kept going and going. And here we are, still breathing.
What I love, too, about what you just said is that, because I often say simple but not always easy, because sometimes the simplest things are very difficult to bring to fruition. And what we're going to be talking about today, which I love, because you have a lot of, connecting the theory to being practical and to then executing on it. And what I love about your origin story, when I was listening to it, because I listened to it a couple of times, and that's why I said I don't think anyone can I think it's a fascinating story, because it's a great story, which I love. And as a recovering journalist, like, I always love stories like that, because they help show, not just tell. And also right, the journey from that was a problem, but it wasn't a problem that needed a solution until a certain item came along. So I'm going to turn over you to tell your origin story.
A nice to have.
Yeah.
And a must have.
Yes.
Something that's nice or something that's needed. And sometimes it's the fine line between a company succeeding or just flat out failing. Mm-hmm. And it's not always because the product isn't good. It's just nobody thinks that they need that product.
Right.
So interesting journey.
So let's go back. And I'm also fascinating, of course, in my world, so like the whole dating world. So you were on a date. So let's take you back to that date. This is the origin story of GoLidZ.
Let's date myself a bunch of decades. So I was on a date in Arizona where I went and got my college degree. And It was, well, I don't have to use years. Let's just say it was my sophomore year of college. I was on a date, went out with this guy, and I was very excited. So I'm not going to lie. Now, if I go to the movies with my husband, it's jeans, sneakers, and a t-shirt. But then I was wearing a little black dress and heels. I'm already 5'10". So, with the heels, throws me up over 6 feet. Not necessary at a movie theater. I don't know what I was thinking. When I got there, I did feel a little stupid. But I was young, and I was a little stupid because I was young. Anyway, he got all this food. Hot dogs, candy, popcorn, snacks. I mean, a feast. And he gave everything to me. And I didn't even understand it. I just foolishly took it. And I took everything. I mean, he literally didn't carry anything. And he kept saying, follow me, as though he had special seats. Maybe I thought maybe we were sitting in the balcony, or he already had seats that he saved and got here early. I don't know. We get inside. Long story short, you never want to sit in the middle of a row at a movie theater because you got to climb in and then you have to climb out. You have to use the facilities. You want to go back to the concession stands. So I was climbing in, and there's always one person with like gigantic knees. There's always like a man waiting for you. Like he's big and his knees are like up to here, and you're gonna fall. And I was trying to get over everybody, and it was like the fourth person in, maybe the fifth. And I knew it. I already was wobbly. I was already a little off balance from the heels I was wearing unnecessarily. And I fell. And I didn't just trip, I fell. I mean, I went over his knee and released popcorn, soda. The lids came off the soda. The popcorn went flying. There was stuff, hot dogs. There was stuff everywhere. I didn't just soak the people in my row. I soaked the people behind them, and I even soaked the people in front of them. It was just such an embarrassing episode. And when I looked up, I was on that sticky floor, that really dirty, grimy, disgusting floor of a movie theater that you never want to even barely touch with your shoes, let alone your hands and your face. So I was glued to it, and I peeled myself up. And the man that I fell over with the big knees, he literally had like a popcorn toupee on his head. Because it was just sitting there. And the look on his face, he was so angry. And everybody, I can't repeat what they were calling me, but let's just say they weren't exactly understanding. They were really angry. And I just sat there in the movie the whole time thinking, this is so outdated. Like, why did that even happen? Why was I overloaded? Why was I walking with all this stuff? And that was really it. I walked out of the movie theater. I went home. I drew a picture of what I thought it should look like, which is hilarious to look at now. I still have it. It's just a hilarious picture. It's like SpongeBob in a cup. I don't know what I was doing there, but and I named it. I put a name to it. I started calling it Soda Snack, and it became like this joke throughout all of college. All my friends, everyone's like, we could so use a soda snack right now, right? Like, wouldn't that be easier? Every time we went to Sun Devil Stadium to see the game, every time we went anywhere, the joke was, hey, Bonnie, did you make soda snack? Did that come out yet? Or are you still working on it? And that was really it. I moved on with my life. I graduated college and I got my bachelor's and I moved back to New York. And the main reason I did not pursue it, and you just said it before, was at the time, we did not have these. No one had this. Actually, I knew one guy, he had a phone, it was in a suitcase, and we were like, look at that pompous jerk. No one's calling you, buddy. He was from a very wealthy family, and they had early access to, the phone in the suitcase. There were like a couple people you knew that had them. He had one, it never rang. And, if no one has this, then you're not really down a hand. But now look at the world now from 1990. Totally different. So then in 2007, well, really in 2000, that's when the phone first came out for everybody. The Motorola, the flip phone.
Right.
And all it did was ring and you could text. Mm-hmm. So, you didn't have it in your hand all the time. You had it on you. But now, 2007, 2008, look what happens. I mean, this thing has taken over our lives, all of our lives. I don't care if you use it as little as possible, like my mom, or you're on it all day long like us. It's still something that's constantly in your hand, and we don't let go of it. Depending on the generation, the Gen Z world, the millennial, they really don't let go of it. I mean, they're usually, if it's in their hand, they're posting something. They're on TikTok, they're dancing, they're doing whatever they're doing. So I'm glued to it nonstop. So it all began really when this phone came out, the smartphone. We all had one. Social media was really not, it wasn't what it is today. But I started noticing, sitting outside Dunkin', Starbucks, all these places, even in Manhattan. And you just would see people now with this phone in their hands, bumping into things and, on it while they're walking through the street, knocking into people and things falling out of their hands, and food and beverage fumbling. And I just realized, what? I know it's a long time later, but it's time to move on it. And I was in the corporate world for over 20 years. And I got to a point where I feel like I got as much out of it as I felt like I could get. And I didn't really want to go any further. And that was it. I took the plunge. And I have to give my husband a shout out, who may or may not be here depending on his busy schedule in his office. But, I talked about it for a really long time. And he and I weren't even engaged yet. We were dating. And he was like, if you don't shut up and do something about it, like if I have to keep listening every day and then look at the drawings and do something about it. And he really pushed me to get going. He even came home one night with a pad and all these different utensils for sketching. And he was like, here, now, you have everything you need. There's no excuses. So get going. And it really pushed me to start. I don't know that I wouldn't have started, but as I now know, you need support. You need someone who believes in you, in your corner, who is cheering you on and supporting you, because boy, the journey gets rough and bumpy and ugly. And one day you're laughing and the next day you're just crying. You can't stop crying.
And you talk about that, the entrepreneurial journey. And what I want to really bring up here and why I like that story is that the story takes us on that journey from, the problem, but then the solution at that time, it would have been a one if it's a nice thing. And then, like you said, now we are, and you're right. I see people walking on the street, like myself, like our cell phone is like, I always said, it's going to soon be like, attached to our hand. And another thing you've talked about is if we talk about the why, right? Like, okay, why would a company, it's like, okay, that's nice. People won't drop stuff, but I found really interesting the why a company may want to buy this in terms of, when they say, would you like fries with that? This sort of goes into that theory, is that because sometimes you go to get something and go, oh, well, where am I going to put that extra, item? So can you talk about that and how that's part of the sales process?
And it's interesting because, we'll get to the consumer packs and us launching into the world of e-commerce 4 days ago. 4 days ago. But, when we started developing this, we were very aware, and I think we're all very aware that good solutions and innovation, it's needed. It's always needed. And if the company is out there who's not constantly looking to innovate and they're not innovating, they're on a path to long-term destruction because everyone is doing it. At the same time, they're not willing to take in a solution that's going to kill them and their bottom line. As good as it is, and as much as they love their consumers, there's got to be something in it for them.
Right.
And that's when we put a team together and we started ideating and really thinking about this. I said, I think they're going to like it, but what's in it for them? And that's going to be the overwhelming question of every organization out there. What do I get? I know what my consumers get, and that makes them happy, and that's good for us and good for business. and that may even generate more revenue, but it's not a direct hit. So what do I directly get? And so we started doing a deep dive and research. I put together a team, really like an advisory board of former beverage giants that were no longer at those companies, but they knew the world of beverage. And I really and truthfully did not know this industry. I didn't come from food and beverage. The only thing I really knew about food and beverage is that I like it and I eat it. And I love going to restaurants and having a delicious meal and fine wines and all that. And then how do you learn? So you go and you pull people around you, and you shut up and you learn, and you let them teach. And that's what I did. And I mean, now I feel like I've been in the industry my whole life, but everything that they knew, I did not know. And as we explored, we realized that what you just said is very valuable. We make decisions based on convenience now more than ever. And when it's not convenient, it's not a necessity.
Right.
And especially talking, depending on the generation, some of these generations, they don't really care that they just ordered Taco Bell delivery and that the Postmates bill and the service charges are more than the tacos and the drink itself.
Yep.
They're okay with that. Why? Because of convenience. They don't have to move.
Yep.
So it doesn't always come down to a price point or a dollar amount. People pay for things they want because it makes their life easier. And when you can tap into that emotion, consumers spend more money. And when it comes to businesses, you just said it. Would you like fries with that? Or would you like a beverage with that? A lot of people go through the drive-through, or, what's the common answer? Nah, I have a water. Everyone usually travels with a bottle of water, something in their bag. But they, what do they want to do? They want to sell you, whether it's iced coffee liquid or it's fountain drink. They want to sell that drink. You know why? Because that's the most profitable thing that they're selling.
Mm-hmm.
The margin on fountain beverages and iced coffees and iced teas and bubble teas, it's like 98%. You take a 5-gallon drum of soda syrup and it turns into 5,000 gallons. That's insane. And so when we realized that's when it started to germinate, that we were like, okay, we can increase the check average. We can help them move more fountain, which is not exactly a bright shining light these last couple of decades. Everybody knows that it's soda, fountain soda. It's not the most promoted drink, but it's the most profitable, and they want to sell it. So.
And one of the things that you just said that applies also in the manufacturing world as well as to B2B is that people will pay for convenience, people will pay for speed. And, and it's all about, we're going to get to this in a few minutes. We'll talk about also how do you brand that and how do you take that out to the world. But I want to go back to something you talked about that I think is so key, is that element of research. You went and did the research. Like you said, you may not know that industry. And as someone who came into manufacturing, my background is in journalism, storytelling, I know about marketing, I know about what works, but I had to do my research, which started with learning about mold making, reading, various trade publications, going on YouTube, watching, learning. I mean, it took me a while even to figure out the difference between a mold maker and a molder, like that, because they sound mold maker, molder, you think mold maker, so all these things. And the same
I had to do that too, Not only did I have to learn about food and beverage, but to your point about manufacturing.
Yes.
I didn't know about manufacturing. I didn't know what cold form meant. Cold what? Cold. Did you say cold foam? I actually, years and years and years ago, when we first started manufacturing, someone in our meeting said, "Oh, it's all right. It's cold forming." I'm like, "Cold foaming?" He's like, "Cold forming." I'm like, "Cold foaming?" I mean, I was so embarrassed. I was sitting in this room. Here I am. I'm the head of the company, and I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And so you need to learn every element. And I always talk about this. Like I put up a post like this about a month ago. Even if you own like a construction company and you don't plan on driving the backhoe, you still need to learn how to drive one.
Yes.
You might not be doing it, but you need to be able to support every aspect of that company and every person that does their job. And the only way you can empathize with what they do is to know what it is, how it works, the struggles, and all the problems and all the little, all the little details that make up a business. So I give you a lot of credit for going from journalism to, because that's, there's not a ton of crossover there.
Nope, there's not. But I also worked in insurance, and it's one of the things, that's why curiosity has done very well for me. And the other thing is going to people that know more than I do. And I work, Brian Geniak's on the call. I mean, Tim Galbraith, who I work, there's a lot of people that I've worked with that I know they know so much more. And I'm sure, Brian, you could, if you're still here, you could drop in some information about what's involved, what tools are needed, or what part of mold making to make those, the GoLidZ, right? So, cause I know it's not what,
it is so much.
Yes.
That when I watch, like when we run manufacturing, my favorite thing to do is stand there and videotape. And, you've seen me at the facility. I do a lot of shooting from there. I think that's a good tactic really for any company to show behind the scenes.
Yep.
Instead of just product. But when I watch what these guys are doing, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And the amount of checking and babysitting, and on our product, there's a lot of it, because there's a lot of features here that could fall to the wayside. And if we don't notice it, you keep running, you run hundreds of thousands, and suddenly you realize there's a defect.
Yeah. Oops.
Now, that's that. I mean, say goodbye. That's a lot of money and a lot of material, and there's no way to go back and fix it.
So, there's lots of, I'm going to go to the comments again, because our studio audience is so active today. This is exciting. We have a special guest in the audience too. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, back to, because I talk about sign up, suit up, and show up. The suit up is so key. I just want to stress that is about using curiosity, and you do that so well, in terms of researching the industry. And that's why you can, and you have to stumble, you have to make those mistakes. That's all part of it. Let's go back to our studio.
Fall off cliffs.
And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about, because we've talked about sign up, you obviously have the right mindset. I always say sign up, you have to decide you're going to stick with this, do this, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're, working in a company, you have to have that right mindset. Then the suit up, and we're going to talk about showing up, because we want to get to that and give some tips to people. So now let's go back I forget where we left off on our, we had a little bit of hair talk. So I think Katie mentioned that, about, so let's go to, yes, Shannon's. Here we are. She says, these look so convenient. They would be great for the car.
They're awesome in the car.
Yes. Anybody that's traveled.
I'll get to this, but this is what led us to launch GoLidZ consumer packs just for consumers and not for businesses, because we want everyone to have access to it. We want everyone to enjoy it. And even though it took us forever, now there's no one who can't enjoy it. And that was the ultimate goal. I don't know that was the goal in the beginning, but that's the goal now.
Okay, that's good. And next comment, let's see, what else do we have here? She's, that looks so handy. Yes, so Whitney's great. Whitney is out there sharing and supporting. So thank you, Whitney, for stopping by. Bruce said, such a great design. Yes, the simple products look that way when complex design is put into place. Wowie, a one-piece design. Yes. I have to say design, and we'll get to that too, because I know you talk about that, you're driven by design thinking. So you were sketching that out way back when, which is really cool.
And design thinking, really, it's like design thinking, UX, UI, all that is so important, because everything that you do, you have to do it with the end user in mind.
Yes.
And if you don't imagine their struggles or how they're going to handle the product in the end, and you base it around a group of people in a bubble, in a manufacturer, in a room, a team, then you're missing so much without getting that feedback from those people. They have the answers.
Yes. So thank you, Bruce, for stopping by. The guy in the blue shirt, love that. Resilience is key. We all know that is, that's what kept many of us. If it wasn't for resilience, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Inger. Katie said, I think this design is great, Bonnie. It would work perfect in coffee shops. I happen to know a few shop owner operators that would dig this big time. Okay, perfect. Well, Katie knows. In fact, she also dropped in cold forming. So that's a whole
Ah.
other, so she knows about that. Fun time here. Yes, Bruce. Woo, woo. We like to have fun here. And he said, yes, he's in Arizona as well. Love it here. Yes.
So here's the funny thing. So when Bruce and I connected somewhat recently, and I realized he was in Tempe, that's where Arizona State is.
Oh.
So I lived where he lives. I was there the whole time.
Ah.
Yes,
maybe he knows that guy from the date.
He's in my favorite place in the world because there's really nothing like Arizona. I don't know if you've ever been.
I haven't yet.
Arizona is amazing, and you just best time of my life, and I haven't been back in eons.
Oh, well, on your to-do list.
I was back a few years ago. I was there for the National Association of Concessionaires, the trade show. We were an exhibitor, so we went, but when you can't really enjoy it when you're working a show, it's impossible.
That would be a fun show to go to, concessionaires.
Yeah, it was actually.
I bet you have lots of samples.
Is Hershey, Mars, Coke, Pepsi, snacks. I mean, you walk around there and you gain 10 pounds just looking at it.
Yeah. I went recently to a hotel restaurant. Oh my God, the food, the drink, everything is like you don't need to eat all day. There's just so many samples. So we have a few comments about the gentleman. So we'll just go quickly through these because I think definitely Bonnie does know this, and I think someone said, maybe it was going to carry you. And then it was, hope you didn't go on a second date. I don't think you did.
No. What I should do is send him a thank you note.
Yes. You know what that is? Katie, I would have just left. But see, what Bonnie just said, Katie, is so important. Sometimes, staying on like that, you wouldn't have had, imagine if you hadn't gone on the date, if that hadn't happened. So I agree. Sometimes we have to be grateful for the things. I always say, be thankful sometimes for the people that come into our life and the people that leave our life, but also the lessons we learn from them. Right.
Yeah. So. And it's interesting. I always think about, I should have left. But I also think if I would have in a haste, wipe the tears away, because I'm not going to lie, there were some tears when I fell down. If I didn't sit there and think about it, I might not have thought of GoLidZ, because getting up in a huff and leaving, emotion might have overwhelmed me that it didn't even cross my mind. I might have just been angry, but it wouldn't have, an idea wouldn't have popped into my mind. Right.
Yep. No, that's great. Okay. And then what did we have? I think we have the next comment from Inger saying, she says, oh my gosh, I can totally picture this happening. I think any of us that have, stumbled and carried. Okay. I know we've all have done that. My mom used to call it lazy man, but I'd say lazy person's load, right? You think like coffee, and I've done this and then that is a day you're going to spill your coffee down you because you're trying to carry like 5 things in your laptop and your phone. And
if you think about it, really, I mean, that's what we all start out that way every day.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, a lot of people are still remote working, but putting all that aside, we're all overloaded.
Right.
I mean, when I go out, I have a handbag, you have a drink. Next thing you know, you want to go get something to eat. And then, of course, the phone. And then you got the mom. Very important. Moms. I'm so excited that our product now can go straight to the mom.
Yeah.
Who's got the stroller and the diaper bags and all the stuff with them. I mean, they're not able to go and grab something very easily.
Yeah.
So, very excited about that.
And Whitney said, "Oh, we're so sorry that happened to you, and that the people were angry instead of understanding." Yeah, unfortunately,
they were angry.
That's a pretty common. People they don't care because they just got popcorn and popcorn.
I basically ruined their evening.
Yeah,
soaked their clothes, and the worst part was we were late, so the movie was just about to come on. Where the trailers are coming to an end. So I just kind of
That's such a good story.
It happens. If it was me and someone fell on our row,
I probably
but I don't think I'd be screaming and yelling at that person.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't be verbally attacking them. That's for sure.
I think that's just how some people are. Okay, and next we have our next comment. Do we have any other? Let's see. We have Bruce saying, yes, Bonnie's a great storyteller. Yes, I was just going to say, it's a great story. You tell it great, Bonnie. And we'll just kind of go through. Okay. Ooh, show us the picture. That was the picture.
And you're motivating me, because an overwhelming comment that's been coming from people around me that I love and trust. colleagues, from you name it. How do I explain this? You talk about showing up, right? And I do show up on LinkedIn often. You know me, I do my own videos. We try to break it up so it's not like the same thing every day. But I have not had the courage to do that on TikTok. I haven't had the courage to do it on Facebook. And in the last week, it's been said to me at least a dozen times, because we launched our consumer packs, you know, right now, these followers that we have, they're just following a company. And consumers don't love to follow companies and products. They need to feel a connection. You're leaving out the best part of the connection. You're not telling them how this began and how it started and your journey, and you're not sharing it. And if you did, you know, we're going to see a very big difference in the approach and how they respond, as opposed to just posting videos. And on Facebook and TikTok, I have not taken that leap. So I show up, but I don't show up everywhere, and I need to.
It's all part of a journey, right? So I always tell people, like, you can't be everywhere, you can't do everything. Plus, you've been so busy doing the product launch.
I'm so tired. I'm really tired.
Got to take a break. So Katie said, show us the picture. That's the early diagram. Maybe one day you'll say that could be part of something you could show before and after. That's a great behind the scenes. So
I posted some funny things on LinkedIn in the past that are in my feed, God knows where. But yeah, I put up like a weird picture, and I put up some funky things, like even our first prototype that we did. We were so excited, and then we got it, and it looked like a Lego. Here, I have one right here. Look at this.
Well, you know, you could go back and take some of those videos and use them on TikTok now. So see, fun. Have some fun with it. Okay, let's zip through the comments quickly, and then we want to come back because we're already at. We're going to be. So Bruce says, great points. Bonnie is now about showing up and heads up too with smartphones. Yes, about showing it. Yes, good for you for recognizing it was time to bring it back, Bonnie. This entrepreneur journey is definitely challenging. Yes, it is. It's fun too, but. Great leaders have a vision and an intuitive time to start a new thing. Bonnie's a real example of this. Yes, cheerleader in your corner. For sure. It's about that instinct. And sometimes sometimes things don't make sense too. But Shannon says, so true. And we have Ingrid said, yes, it's about knowing your audience, right, Gail? Well, anybody that knows me knows I often say this, and we've got another comment coming up, which we'll talk about that, because you're not telling your story for you. You're telling your story for your audience, right? So obviously people heard you today, and look at the comments were made because people had a lot of compassion for you, right? Because here you are on this date. So, okay, here's the comment. So true for biz, best radio station. So for those of you who don't know, it's WIFM. What's in it for me? And not what's in it for me, who's putting out the product or the service. It's what's in it for your audience, for your client.
It's true.
Is the WIFM, everybody. This is so key when you're writing a blog, when you're doing a video, when you're doing whatever you're doing. It's what's in it for the WIFM. I love that radio station. WIIFM. Love it. People are definitely willing to pay for convenience. So true.
Yeah.
Especially smart convenience. Thanks for your thoughts. What else do we have here? We'll just kind of go through any other.
And of course, you know, just as a side note, we do. Let's just put it out there. We do have our challenges because, you know, it's plastic. It's plastic, and we all know that it's a challenging thing. But we only use recycled materials.
Yep.
We never source virgin PET. It's all our PET, and because these are so sturdy and so strong, our new packs that we've put out. Our consumer packs, we have reuse all over the box. And it's interesting. We actually spoke with the FDA, and they said there's a very big misunderstanding about PET number one. They don't say you have to discard number one unless it's super thin, you know, like this is so thin that it crushes. And the whole thing with PET is they don't want it to get lacerated. Because once lacerations come in, chemicals can leach into whatever's in there. So they tell you not to reuse a water bottle or a really thin plasticky food service container, right? That thin gauge. We're talking really low gauge plastic that is going to be tossed. But these are so super strong They don't crush. I mean, and I'm really squeezing on it, and that's not crushing. These are thick gauge. There's no need to use it once and throw it in the garbage can. You can't put them in the dishwasher, but we wash them out all the time. You sanitize it, hot water and soap, and you lay it flat to dry. When it dries, it's like a brand new lid. And anyone, I've given so many lids out on this platform to connections that are like, I wish I could just get a pack, but I know you guys only sell businesses until now. So I would send out lids all over. I don't know how many we've sent out. And everyone I've ever sent them to was like, I still have them. They're clean, they're usable, unless it's covered in like gravy or cheese or something that could lead to some bacterial problem. There's no need to, so, but that's a challenge for us. I think we have to communicate that to now consumers, to the outside world. Don't throw it away. And even when you're done with it, still don't throw it away. Use it for something else. Use it on, put it on your desk, put some supplies in it. Just don't throw it in the trash.
And I think, and I'll be doing future shows about this, talking about plastics. It's not plastics, use of plastics, it's actually disposal of them that we have to deal with. And people miss out that, like, it's not banning them, because we're not going to be able to ban them. It's not realistic.
And it's a really efficient material. At the end of the day, there's a ton of other plastics that go in the garbage that don't get sorted or recycled, including polypropylene. Number 5 doesn't get recycled, but it does reduce emissions. And there are benefits on the environment. So everything kind of has its ebb and flow, and it's not just like a black and white scenario when it comes to the materials. It's a tough topic.
Well, it's also very political right now, so that's a whole.
Oh, you think? Yes.
We have it in Canada big time. So
it's so political. It's and a lot of misinformation about compostability and biodegradability. Because you ask most consumers what that means, they don't know. And the reality is that the marketing can be very misleading. Biodegradable, compostable, when? Because something compostable or biodegradable, that might mean 20 years from now. A lot of things, it's dependent on environmental conditions and the angle of the sun in some cases, photo degradability. I mean, it goes on and on. This is only because I forced myself to learn everything that there is about sustainability, because you have to. But it's a tough world right now with plastics, and I'm sure you guys, anyone in plastics feels the squeeze and the pain of it sometimes.
I had to jump in and share this comment because everyone knows Oprah, right? You get a lids and you get a lids and everybody gets a lids.
That is so funny. We were laughing about that the other day. I was on the phone with someone, and when we were just discussing the consumer packs and the fact that everyone can have access. You don't need to be a business. You can just go on our website and buy a pack of our lids. And then that came up, and I was like, you get a lid, and you get a lid, and you get a lid. And it's exactly what we were saying.
Well, we're coming to the top of there, and there's so much we have to cover. So I'm going to quickly go through, because I'm going to let a lot of the messages are people, making wonderful comments about what we're talking about in the show. So thank you all. I do want to welcome. I see that I believe Valerie Weber is in the house. I just want to show Valerie. Welcome, Valerie. So I don't know if you guys know each other. Do you know Valerie? Yes.
Online we do. Yeah.
So everything you do is with the end user in mind. Thank you. Always great to see. I hope I haven't missed anybody that's joined in. I know there's been lots of comments today. Obviously, this is a very big topic of interest. I think what's most important about this is that, like you said, not everybody may care about this, right? So that's the other thing. But what you have is a group of people. I almost say it's like the people who go to Starbucks and pay that. Like, you can make your coffee at home. So if it was only about, you can make a really good coffee. I have Nespresso. I pay a bit more for the Nespresso pods, but I pay for that. And I feel like that's my gourmet coffee, right? But a lot of people go to Starbucks. So it's the same thing with this. So I think that's really important to stress that this is also about a niche. This may not be widespread, but clearly what you're doing is tapping into the same people probably who will pay to have, pay more to get the food delivered than the actual.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's and you know what, you're never going to have a product that everybody wants, and that's, we're fine with. We don't want, it's like the old saying, you can't just look around and say the market. It's everybody. It's not everybody. It's people that value convenience, that value making their life a little easier, and the products that do that. And that's not everyone. but it's enough people. It's a good amount.
I'm going to go back. I don't know if we have any other comments. I'm just looking quickly through. I know we have help. Ingrid's helping in the background too. And I'm kind of stepping in here because there's so many comments today. So, and I do want to say there's a few people weighing in on the whole plastics and commenting. I know someone just posted about, diverting waste, and there's so many more things we can do. And it all has to do with political will. And I mean, we know that
it all has to do also with it's sustainability and this whole issue. It's everyone's problem, meaning that consumers have to do their part. And so, sometimes you can't shout on a soapbox about a problem and then not sort and recycle in your own home.
Yeah.
And make sure that those items aren't landing in the wrong bin.
Yep.
And, because if you're doing that, then you're complaining about a problem that you're not willing to help solve. And I think that's a big part of it is the trash coming from everyone's houses and everyone's homes, and it's not sorted, or there's all kinds of things thrown in the trash that shouldn't be there. So,
no, that is really good. So, we're going to go over, because I do want to wrap up a little bit and talk a little bit about showing up and use of videos. And you started to talk about that. There wasn't the guest. Let me see if I can go back and find. There was a LinkedIn user, and I believe it might be. There's no name, so I think it might be your husband.
Oh, yeah.
I think he stopped in to say, because a little birdie told me that he was in the comments. So he might be, if he has his LinkedIn set at private or something, he may not, his name wouldn't show up. But if you're out there, he says, I'm here.
Hi.
If it is you and you're still here,
I don't know why his name doesn't come up, but he's in finance, so
it may be that some
there's
people
there's a lot of rules on that end, and those companies and what you're allowed to like.
So just do 3 dots and an exclamation mark if it's you, and we'll know it's you. do a code word. What's his name? What's his first name?
Eric.
Hi, Eric. If you're out there, Eric, hello, because I feel like I know you. Oh, so you did talk about because I do want to touch upon a little bit about your health journey as well. But so since you did talk about video, please go follow Bonnie. You'll see her video. She does some amazing things. And I think you've said it right that, there's still other platforms you can get out on, and it's not too late. Like, it's perfect timing. Oh, he says, yes, it's me. He's here. He's in the house. So let's maybe just wrap up a little bit with some things you've learned. We talked about the entrepreneurial journey. We've talked about GoLidZ. We've talked about all the amazing things you're doing. And I hate to just rush to the end on this, but I'd like you maybe just to give a bit of a touch base about some things you've learned about your health, because the entrepreneurial journey is exciting. You can put a lot of time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears, but sometimes it comes at a cost that may be too high. So what have you learned, and what are you doing differently now that can still keep your business going, but also take care of you?
It comes at a very heavy price. And I think for all entrepreneurs, when you start, that's what you don't know, along with a million other things that you do not know that you need to learn. But you don't know what's going to happen to your overall being, your health, sleep exhaustion, the toll that stress takes on your body, that everything that's going to happen to you. And I don't think it's like not something that's reserved for certain entrepreneurs. It's everybody. Like, if you've done this, if you've dove in head first, taken a huge risk, you are stressed, you are likely tired, and you put in more hours than you can even explain to anyone. And you've been through a lot. And so, with me, what I've learned is that I need to slow it down. I need to step away. I need to let go of the stress, as hard as it is. And I need to focus on, more personal time, and pay more attention. I had a health scare earlier in December, and it really just happened. And we don't know what happened, but I went to sum it up, someone quickly, I went for a routine physical, and A1C score, which I don't know who knows that and doesn't, but it's your glucose. It's a score about your blood sugar, your glucose levels. And there's a range that you should be in. And I've always been in that range, and I didn't really have any health concerns ever in the past. And then all of a sudden, the number comes back and it's not good. And it just totally blew me away. They want to give me medications and, could turn into type 2 diabetes. And it was just out of nowhere. And it just really smacked me in the face and scared the daylights out of me, because suddenly, I'm thinking I'm healthy. And here I'm being told by the doctor that I'm not so healthy and that I have to be on medication now potentially for the rest of my life. Well, anyone that knows me knows that I don't take many things lying down, and I usually question what I'm being told, good or bad. But I rarely just take information and take an answer and walk away. When someone tells me I'm going to be on drugs for the rest of my life to control now sugar problem, and mentions words like diabetes and kidney problems, and I was like, no, I don't think so. So I did my research and I found a group. First, I found out about diabetes, and it's really all based around insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. And so I found a group, I joined them, and it's all about eating a certain way, and it's reversing insulin resistance. And if you can reverse insulin resistance, then you're not diabetic. You do have to be willing to change your lifestyle. And doctors, usually people just, with any problem, and it's a sad tale, but most people will just take the medication and, give me my meds and go away. I'm not changing my life. I'm not changing my lifestyle at all. I'm going to pretend this didn't happen. And every morning I'll wake up and take 4 pills, and that'll be that, and test my sugar. But I didn't. So I went on this vegan journey, and I literally woke up overnight and cut animals out of my life and only eat sprouted grains and fruits and vegetables. And I did it for 4 months, and not only did I lose like 20 something pounds from eating that way, but I feel great. I don't get those sugar spikes that you get from all the stuff that's horrible, which I these things are not good, but I've learned now how to read labels in a whole new way. Processed foods and refined sugars and flours, white flours, and all the things that contribute to something being terrible, included added sugars. And they're everywhere. And they're in foods that even look healthy until you really understand the label and you find out not so healthy. I cut out everything. I don't have dairy, no eggs, no milk, no nothing. Very extreme. As extreme as you can be. But anyone that knows me knows that's part of my personality. I'm either all in or I'm totally out. So 4 months later, happy to report that my A1C has plummeted all the way down.
Wow.
To a non-alerted level. Like the only caveat is that I have to stay on this lifestyle forever. If I ever go back to that kind of eating or lack of, then yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to do it, and I'm willing to stay in that zone forever. And I have recently added in. I really just decided I couldn't live without seafood, so I've recently added in shrimp and salmon, fish, and I'm allowed to do it. It's okay, and it's not affecting me. And so I have like my little side thing.
Yeah,
that's it. It's very serious. Entrepreneurship. It's not the first story or the last that you hear from someone. And there are much worse stories than this. I know there are people that have wound up in a hospital, and then there's your mental health.
Right.
So it's not just physical; it's mental too. At the end of the day, entrepreneurship is a very, very lonely place. Very lonely.
Well, and not everybody understands, because it looks like, we have a lot of freedom too, right? There's the freedom, but right. It's not, things aren't always as they seem to. And so we're starting to wrap up. And I mean, thank you for sharing that, because that was one thing I saw your post on LinkedIn, and, I myself have had, my blood sugar is a bit higher, but they're catching it's really early. And I'm like, geez, what's going on? Because, I eat healthy, I do exercise, but there's some things that are still, and I think it has to do with my pairing of foods too. So it's not because my lifestyle, like when they say don't eat these certain things,
matter what you put with what.
Yeah.
And if anyone listening, I really want to I want to help other people, because when I was told what was going on, it paralyzed me for a bunch of weeks until I figured out how I was going to tackle this and get rid of it. And you can get rid of it. So if you have a question, just DM me. If you have a question about something, or you want a resource, or you want access to the program that I was on, happy to share, because it's you know, at the end of the day, if we don't have our health, then none of this matters at all.
And that's why I really thank you for sharing that, because part of today's, you know, and my show is about showing up, and showing up isn't just what appears on the outside, because, you know, you want your business, but a lot of the people I've had on, we've talked about other things. And that's why that first step of signing up, mindset, it's so key that we have this process. And I don't see him on today, but I know the king of process, David Chrysler, he's a big advocate for that, of having a process and a process.
A lot of glamour.
Yeah.
It's a lot of glamorized, you know, if you look at all the posts on LinkedIn, and it looks like everything is just, you know, wonderful, and we're having the time of our lives. And many days, yes, but many days, no. So it's, you know, it's a choice. It's a choice that you make. It's not for everyone. It's definitely a choice.
And as much as, Bonnie, when I first saw your video, that you were rocking it, and I think you still are rocking it, and I look forward to you on TikTok. Please connect up on TikTok. I use TikTok strictly for fun. I sort of let go of, like, I felt like, oh, there's other people in manufacturing doing it for more serious, you know, things. And I'm like, heck with it. I'm just going to dance. I'm going to lip sync. I have fun with it. It's a bit of a stress relief for me to go on and do it. And
you just kind of like you need an angle on TikTok. It needs to be something that's unique to what you are, what you do. My goal is to get in front of the camera. I need to bite the bullet and hold up our package and start talking about more than just our product. And that has to happen. I know that.
Bonnie, I suggest Inger and Sri, who was a guest on last week, they're doing a video challenge starting next week. And it might be, and you don't have to post anything publicly. They're just having a group, and you can post it and they give feedback. Might be a really good place for you to go test out some. You can test out some material. They are amazing.
I might bite the bullet again, back to like my personality, and I might just go live.
Yeah. And you can, you know what you could do is do the video.
That's the thing. The people that follow us on TikTok, we have a decent amount of followers, but they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I've never even introduced myself, which is really a mistake, and not one that I would advocate to anyone. So it's surprising that I have done that. But like you said, I've been busy and so over focused on getting something done that I really wasn't in that mindset.
Well, I would say be kind to yourself. If there's any message for everybody listening today, I think someone said it too, is that social media shows us only the highlights, right? We often, thank you, Inger, for that, because that's true. We often only see the best, and it's not necessarily a reality. And we got to wrap up, but we could talk longer. I'm
going to show you. I promised I would. I'm going to show you.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not a sneak peek anymore because they're out.
First public viewing of this on GailNow. Show up at GailNow, right? There we go.
And it comes with 12, and we've got how to use. We have instructions. We have more info on the back, and then we have facts and questions on the side. So you could see this took us a very long time. So laid out with details and you know, all kinds of stuff. Took us forever. I think we went through like 90 drafts on the graphic side. So kudos and shout out to, well, I don't know if he wants me to drop his name in here or not, but
you can.
Very patient.
You know what? And if someone wants to buy those, is there a way they can?
Yeah. So if you want to purchase GoLidZ, a pack, there's 2 different sizes. One is compatible with 12 to 20 ounce cups, and one's compatible roughly in like the larger size, like 29 to 34 ounces. They're on our website. So it's GoLidZ.com, GoLidZ. Yep, there it is right there. And a really easy site to navigate. That took us some time because we have a new site on top of a new product. And yeah, it's you'll love them. It's a really good product, and it's free shipping. You know,
right.
We know how important free shipping is.
But not to Canada, right? Not free shipping.
No, you know, and we're working on that.
Okay.
It's so complicated, Canada.
Yeah.
We sell wholesale on our website.
Yeah.
So businesses can go on and order one case, even if they just want to test it.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have a whole nother section of the site that's wholesale. So now we have consumer and we have wholesale. So everything's available online now from our business. But Canada, we've shipped wholesale, and the duty and the fees and the taxes, and I mean, I couldn't believe like what was going on and how hard it is to ship product to Canada.
Yeah.
So, but we're trying
Whitney,
to find an easier way.
Whitney says she's going to get a pack. This would be perfect for my preschool when we're out and about. Yeah. So there we go.
Yes,
That's
definitely. I absolutely for your preschooler. I'm telling you, and they're great. Doesn't have to be filled. I want to just say this because we get a lot of hits about. We've gotten beat up a bit, even in DMs. I've gotten some messages. We do a lot of videos, and what we always show the good stuff, right? All the junky stuff, none of which I eat any longer, ever. But it can be filled with fruit and salad and vegetables and healthy things. I have Lara bars in here right now. 6 months ago, probably wouldn't have seen that. So, it doesn't have to be this greasy meal. It can be filled with grapes and sliced apples.
Yep. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. One last thing just to wrap up. I always ask people that. How do you exercise your curious mind?
Oh, my goodness. It's a good question. A couple ways. So I talk to as many people as I can about tons of things I don't know about. So I can learn what they know, which has pretty much been the theme of my beginning of this. Voracious reader, constantly reading, and could be any topic that I want to go and like dig around. But yeah, I'm forever curious. I think that it's a nonstop. It's actually the root cause of some of my not being able to stay in the moment, because I see something on social media or see an article pop up from CNN and I'm constantly like, wait, what's that about? What's going on here? And you're clicking like a crazy person because you want to learn. You want to learn all you can. And I think if you're not curious and you're not always learning, then it's not a good life. For me, that wouldn't be, because why don't you want to know as much as you can know? Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. What a great way to wrap up this show, because knowledge on so many fronts today has been very powerful. Thank you, Bonnie. I had some notes here, but you answered so many things. We didn't even, there's so many more things we talk about, collaboration that changes your future. So, but I'm going to ask people to just come follow you, follow your journey, follow your LinkedIn, the videos, and also watch for you on you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, and we'll watch for you. GoLidZ. And we're going to look for Bonnie on Twitter. And if you ever want to duet with me, let me know.
I'll duet with you.
Okay.
I will duet with you. I'll duet with you.
And
we can wherever you are right now. I mean,
you know what? I'll take you, because
a
few of us, Sri, who's doing the video challenge, a few of us are talking about going live. Like I'll go live, and then you can come on my live, and we can actually have a chat on TikTok and just
absolutely anytime.
All right, Bonnie, I'm going to have you. If you can just go in the green room, I'm just going to wrap up, and then I'll come in there in just a minute. Okay.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks everyone who showed up. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. What a day. So thanks everyone for coming up. Yes, knowledge is power. Bonnie, amazing guest. We went over time, but sometimes that's what you do when you have a great guest like she is, with so much information to share. And one of the things I really appreciate about Bonnie is her willingness to be vulnerable, to, tell her origin story, tell her story also of her health journey. I think that's really important for us all to hear, that, getting checked in, making sure that, that we're taking care of ourselves. Because if we don't take care of ourselves first, we can't run our business. We can't take care of family. We can't be in relationships. So I hope everybody learned a little bit from Bonnie about that, about as driven as we can be at times, our health is priority one. And the other thing I want to put up is that, just a reminder again about this, that Inger and Sri was a guest on my show last week. They're having a video challenge. I really encourage everyone to give this a try. And here's why. Even though I'm comfortable with video, when I last did the challenge, I learned things. It's just like Bonnie said, there's so much more we can learn. The other thing about the challenge this time they're doing is you don't have to post on your own profile. You can actually just post in the group, get feedback, get comfortable. So start small, but you do have to post. If you don't post, then they may they're going to very nicely remove you from the group. And I think that's being authentic, because it's all about making sure that you are showing up. So I encourage you to go check out what Inger and Sri are doing. They both have great stories about how they got into video. So, and video is the way of the world. So now, thanks everyone for showing up. We have more great guests lined up each week. And I want to thank everybody for attending today. If you want to know more about what I'm doing, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is where I post a fair amount. And I also am on TikTok, mostly having fun. So join me there, have fun, do a dance, I just do it for the pure joy of it right now. And it also shows a little bit about my personality, because I also do motivational talks and keynote talks. So if you need to book me to come and talk about signing up, suiting up, and showing up, you can reach out to me for that as well. Okay, we're going to now move to sign off, and stay tuned, because next week we have a very, very interesting guest, and there's more over the summer as well. So thanks everyone. And I will see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.